Hi, I'm Joan Curtis. I work at Disability Rights New Mexico. I'm a senior advocate there, and I'm trying to get my glasses not to reflect off of the camera. But I'm wanting to do a short presentation on transition for Carlsbad VR and for the other partners that we have working in that area on transition issues. So let me bring up the see if we can get the actual PowerPoint here and share it. And start the slideshow. So again, I'm Joan Curtis. I'm a senior advocate. Sometimes I do this training with Tim, who's our legal director and is also fluent in Spanish. I'm doing this on transition rights. And Disability Rights New Mexico is the protection and advocacy system for New Mexico. Every state has one of us, and there's a toll-free number to us. You can look at our website, which is brand new, and you might get some great resources from that website. So we do help with families that are having difficulty with their students who are in transition, particularly with the school. And we're going to be looking at special education rights and resources in the community. Now, first of all, there are some laws that apply to you if you are a student in high school and you have a disability. You might be under what's called a 504 plan, and that's where you may just have, it's a much more broad category where you may just have one impairment, which substantially limits one of your life sustaining skills like learning. And if you're not able to learn, you might be considered having a disability under a Section 504 plan. And the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 are more looking at discrimination. So you would still be a student within general education. There wouldn't be any money attached to Section 504, but the school would be required to provide you with accommodations or modifications so that you sort of had a level playing field with other students who did not have disabilities. Now, if you had disabilities that are more severe, you might qualify for one of the 13 categories of disabilities under IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Educational Act, or special education. So as you can see from this diagram, if you're looking at all students within the district, you're going to have people with disabilities and students without disabilities. Now, there might be some students with impairments, but maybe they don't feel that they need to have any accommodations or modifications in order to level the playing field with other students. But you might think that you do have impairments that substantially limit certain life activities like learning. Like maybe you have ADHD and it causes some behavior problems, and you're at risk of being suspended frequently. So that might be an impairment that could limit your learning. So there'd be more protections for you under Section 504 of the law. And if you were able to qualify, say you had ADHD, but it was really pretty severe, and it caused you to maybe be not very focused, and so you weren't able to get your assignments done, you couldn't pay attention to your lessons, maybe you would qualify for other health impaired, which is one of the 13 categories of special education. So those are some of the laws that could protect you. And who qualifies for students who might have a physical or mental condition that restricts one or more life activities? Could be your hearing, you could have cerebral palsy or a mental illness, asthma, learning disabilities, So you might get a protection under 504 for one of these um, uh, restrictions that you have in one of your major life activities. So it's important to learn about your disability if you have a disability, particularly as you get older and you're about to transition. Now, there are 13 categories of disability under special ed law, which is called IDEA, Individuals with Disability Educational Act. But there are hundreds of types of disabilities under Section 504 of the law. So those could even be like skin disorders. But remember, it's more difficult to get qualified under special ed law. Important, as I was saying, is transition as you start to learn self-advocacy, start to go to your own IEP meetings and actually direct your IEP meetings so that you make sure that you get the kind of accommodations that are going to really work for you. What age in New Mexico? Age 14 is when they start working on transitions. Across the country, it's usually age 16 that they require transitions to be specifically looked at on developing an IEP. But in New Mexico, it's even younger, which is a good thing. Trying to make this move forward and it's not. There you go. Now, I want to see if we missed one there. Let's go back. Okay, so here we are. You can continue to go to school. You can be a student in New Mexico until you're age 22 or until you graduate with a diploma. So if you're still struggling, and my son made a mistake with this, he graduated. He thought when he got his GED that he had graduated, but really when you just get a certificate like that, he could have gone back to school until he was 22 because he did have and still does have special needs. He has serious mental illness. Now, when you get towards your high school year, maybe you're in your junior year, you might want to have DVR, Vocational Rehabilitation or Commission for the Blind, attend your IEP meeting with you. They have a number of resources that you can add to your IEP. If you need accommodations in your evaluations in high school, be sure to get those written into your IEP as soon as you figure out some accommodations that might work for you, like extended time on standardized tests, or this gentleman here has an increased expanded font. Maybe he has visual impairments, and so that helps him. Those kinds of accommodations are really helpful for him. What do you think? What do you do if your rights are being violated? Maybe the school doesn't want to admit you because you have a disability, or they refuse to accommodate you. Or maybe you feel like you're being discriminated against because of your disability. If you see with that wheelchair there, that young person is unable to get up the steps, and that would be an accommodation that would be necessary in order for that person to access this program. How do you file a formal complaint? Well, there are a couple ways of filing a formal complaint, or you could go to a due process hearing if you were in school and you felt that the services that you were receiving, either they refused to implement them, or there were other issues that were going on. You felt that the program you were receiving was not appropriate. There's also an Office of Civil Rights complaint. If you feel that your 504 plan is not being implemented, or the school isn't giving you the accommodations that they said that they would, then you might want to file an Office of Civil Rights complaint. Don't wait until your senior year to get those accommodations or to even be identified as a person with a disability, because it can really be helpful if you've had it on your record that you already are a person with a disability under a 504 plan or under an IEP. If you're having problems with your credits, the protections of special ed can help you. Problems with passing tests that are required for graduation. I've had a couple kids who've had trouble and were unable to graduate because of not being able to do well in their testing. And so if it's written in your IEP, that would be something that you could go back and say you would like an accommodation for that. Excuse me. What kind of accommodations can you receive at college? Sound amplification aids, speech to text software, note-taking services. That would have been helpful for me. I have trouble organizing my thoughts to write down in notes. Sign language interpretation. So those are just a few of the kinds of accommodations you could receive. Resources that might be helpful when you're transitioning. You may need Medicaid for if you are low income and you need to have medical insurance to pay for your doctor's visits or medications. SSI or SSDI to help on a monthly basis to supplement your income. Section 8 housing can be really helpful on your not having to pay the full amount of your rental. And Section 8 can pick up with these vouchers, can help pick up the costs of rent, or food stamps, which have really been helpful to people during COVID. The amount that you get is much higher during these months where we've had COVID. Again, Disability Rights New Mexico is the name of the office I work at. If some of this seems to you like, oh, I have a daughter or a son that is having trouble with transition and the school's not providing the services that we really need, or you need other types of supports in hooking up to resources with vocational rehab or Commission for the Blind, you're welcome to give us a call on the toll-free number up there, 1-800-432-4682. Thank you. I hope this is helpful for you. So we'll give you, hopefully you'll receive a copy of this, or you can review this again. We'll try to see if we can get a link for this so that people can access it when they need to. Thank you.